Justin Fields played 13 snaps this weekend, and because he had the gall, the nerve to not score a touchdown on every drive he played, plenty of fans on social media had plenty to say. But really, what went well in his dropbacks? What went poorly? Let's dive into the tape and take a look. So the first play opens up very similarly to what the Bears did with Tyson Bagent, with a little bit of pre-snap motion that's going to pull Cole Kmet across the field, and as he does it, Fields doesn't like what he sees from the defense, and you can see him tapping his helmet right here. He's going to kill the play, so he's going to check to a run, which is going to be outside zone to the left, and we're not going to spend too much time on the running plays here. We're here to talk about the quarterback, but Bears fans, I will point out that this is an outside zone run to the left, so that means everybody's going to take a quick step to the left and basically block the first guy they see. Again, there's more to it than that. We can do that in another video. But it's Cody Whitehair who doesn't get his block down, and Ja'Tyre Carter doesn't get one either, but he's got a very difficult reach block on a nose tackle that's going to be diving on him. But never great to see Whitehair, one of the guys who's supposed to be an anchor on your offensive line, lose in that first rep nearly immediately, set you to 2nd and 10, but we'll solve that problem another time. Now on our second play, Fields' first passing play, it doesn't get much more preseason than this, with DJ Moore clearing space down the sidelines for Darnell Mooney on a deep out route, and Cole Kmet underneath about 5-6 yard hitch route, as he's just going to try to pick up some yards and get the Bears into a 3rd and manageable on 2nd and 10. And Fields does a fine job. We see a little improvement over 2022, but I do think the ball still comes out a little bit late. The placement is fine. Obviously on the broadcast, this is going to look crazy low, but by the time Fields pump fakes right here, and you could tell he hesitates just a little bit, he realizes that he's got to make sure that he keeps his player safe, because any throw above the hips is going to have these two closing defenders nearly decapitate Cole Kmet. So you keep that ball nice and low. It's basically like a throw into the goal line of the end zone, and make sure that your guy is the only guy who's got a chance to catch the ball. And as you can see with these two linebackers right here, you can't make clean contact on the offensive player, which only serves to keep the tight end safe. Now, Cole gets up and thinks he caught the ball. The Bears obviously don't challenge it, whatever. But overall, yeah, Fields is a little tardy. That's something he's still working on, but I'm just glad he throws it at all. I've seen Fields in 2022 not throw these balls, like quick hitters that don't come out and end up sacks or haywire scrambles. Fields' release looks a little bit quicker to me. It feels as if the ball gets out faster than it did last year. And again, the placement is fine. It's not a rep you want. You don't love incompletions on 2nd and 10, but I do think that this looked a lot worse on the broadcast than it is. But this brings us to play number 3, and of Fields' incompletions, it's my favorite one to talk about because the Bears are running a simple concept, 9-8-9. That's one post route separating 2 go routes, and the post route draws the safety's attention, opening up space down the sidelines for one of these 2 go routes. And if you take a look at the Bills' defensive formation, sure, it looks like they're running 2-man, which would be 2 safeties here in the back and everybody else manned up on the line of scrimmage. And especially since we've got Cole Kmet running a little slant route that's going to kind of function as a pick route for DJ Moore's slot fade. When Fields, because the play design is surely going to ask him to pick a side, does he like the matchup he gets from Mooney, or does he like the matchup he gets from Moore? Well, it's DJ Moore one-on-one with a slot corner. We love that matchup. And unfortunately, in the NFL, it's just not that easy. And sometimes, even when you get the look you want, your guy, in this case Moore, doesn't win the rep, kind of trips over Cole Kmet's defender, never quite gets up enough speed, and, well, the ball falls incomplete. Now, when you take a look under center, Fields does everything he's supposed to as a quarterback. Not only did he identify his wide receiver 1 in a situation he wants to, but his eyes are focused on Tyler Scott, just like they should be. That post over the middle, you've got to hold the safety's attention, and you can see 21 already edging in towards Scott, just like you'd hope that Fields would be able to influence. Fields only takes a quick look at Moore right here before planting and releasing the football. And of course, I would love for Fields to not basically plunk a defender with the football. Let's see if we can push the ball out here, but he's throwing off of timing and relatively to a spot that DJ Moore's been winning in practice, and that's exactly the kind of mistake you'd expect to see in the preseason. From a process perspective, Fields does a much better job here than the results seem to indicate, but, from the results perspective, it just hits a defender in the chest. So I tend to think the narrative's a little off on that one, but what can you do? It's the preseason. People overreact. But anyways, let's move on to play number 4, as the Bears start a fresh series at 1st and 10. They start the drive off with a run play. Looks like it's a power run to the right-hand outside, and it goes about as well as the outside zone run did that kicked off the last drive. In this case, believe it or not, we get to see some early action from new number 84, Mercedes Lewis, and this block does not go super well for him. That's okay. You're not going to win all the blocks that you get, especially as a tight end against a defensive end, but he gets muscled out of the hole. Khalil Herbert goes down, and now here we are in 2nd and 10 again, play number 5. And on it, we see another example of what I think is Justin Fields' process looking better than his results. So the play call is about as preseason as it gets, with Moore running a go down the sidelines, Cole Kmet running a post over the middle, and Darnell Mooney running an in or a dig route. And as we take a look at what the receivers do on this particular play, there's just a Buffalo defender in the way of pretty much everybody. This post route, maybe Fields could squeeze it in, but he's got a safety breaking down on him. Moore's covered up around the sidelines. This linebacker is sitting right in the way of the throwing lane that would come to Darnell Mooney, and there's pressure on Justin Fields, so instead he's going to throw a fastball, maybe too fast, to Khalil Herbert, who can't quite hang on, and Fields suddenly looks like he's thrown 3 incompletions in 3 plays, and Twitter's X is going crazy, blah, blah, blah. You probably lived it. But when I watch this play, especially watching him from this end zone angle right here, Fields looks to me like he drops back. He's got the alert to DJ Moore. He doesn't like it. He identifies the safety. That's Kmet right there. Doesn't like it. Works back. Sees the linebacker. Doesn't like it. Also notices that his left tackle is losing. And instead of taking a sack or trying to do anything crazy, he's just going to throw the ball to the check down. And it's probably too fast. Could have thrown something softer. But with a linebacker attacking downfield, I can understand why you'd want to get the ball to your guy as quickly as possible so that if he does catch it, maybe spins upfield, he can do something with it. But it's better process than we saw last year, where Fields could occasionally glom on to a receiver and not get to second or third read, and certainly wouldn't get to his check down. Instead, Fields feels pressure and manages to get the ball out in a way that means he doesn't even have to take a hit. It's preseason, but on a 5-step drop kind of play, it's nice to see that Fields can go through the reads and distribute the ball somewhere, even if we've got to alter the throw a little bit. But let's get on to play number 6. And on this play, unfortunately, I think Fields misses a man downfield. It's actually very similar to that 9-8-9 play we talked about earlier, where in this case, it's Scott and Moore who are going to basically get out of the way for Darnell Mooney, who's running a seam post up the middle of the field. And Luke Getsy probably thinks that the Buffalo Bills are going to drop into cover 2 here, which would leave a massive hole over the middle of the field. And unfortunately for Fields, kudos to Getsy, he totally looks like he's right. As Mooney breaks through the linebacker route right here, it looks to me like a layered throw over the middle would hit Mooney right in the hands. Now, this is a similar throw that Fields attempted week 3 of 2022 last year against the Texans in a play that got picked off, so maybe Fields is a little gun shy, maybe he's feeling the pressure of the last 3 incompletions not quite going his way, but it sure looks to me like it is a pretty clean pocket of the reps that we've gotten, because we haven't gotten any of the good ones yet, and I'm sorry about that. This is probably the worst rep of the day from Fields. It looked to me like he was frazzled and ends up missing the guy downfield. This stuff happens to quarterbacks all across the league, but Justin Fields is under a little bit of extra scrutiny right now, so you just got to wear it when things don't go his way. Hopefully this is exactly the kind of rep that he and Andrew Jankoko, the quarterback's coach, can go over and fix before the season starts. Better that it happens now in the preseason than it happens when things count in week 1 or 2. Moving on to play number 7, though, it felt as if Justin Fields had basically had enough. The Bears are going to call a play call that truly I don't quite get what it's supposed to attack, as it's a go route down the sidelines and then the running back running into the flat. I would have expected some kind of slant or something that would take advantage of man coverage in this setting, but instead it ends up just creating a ton of open space that Fields seems to say, you know what, pressure's enough of an excuse. We've got all kinds of guys that are falling off into the second level. I know it's the preseason, but I run. This is what I do. And he breaks into open space, gets through a tackler, and picks up 13, 14 yards, which feels a little taboo in the preseason to run openly like this. But hey, it seems to get Justin Fields and the rest of the offense going, and it is a part of his quarterbacking identity. It's certainly not the wrong decision. Best case scenario, he was getting 4 yards on the drag route over there. And so he gets upfield, doesn't take a hit. We're going to see plenty of that in the 2023 season, so I'm unbothered, but it is a little funny to see the quarterback scrambling like that in a game that doesn't count. But it brings us up to the best play that Fields made all day, in my opinion. Play number 8. I mean, this one's the jam, right? I'll even play it for you as we talk through the early parts. It's play action, shot to DJ Moore, that alien that he is. He somehow manages to break out of a triple tackle and instead run for like 25 yards after the catch. But it's really under center that I think we see the magic, because Fields' footwork looks much better on this play than I think it did on most of his play action plays last year. Check this out. As Fields takes the handoff and fakes the ball to D'Onta Foreman, afterwards he snaps his head around, and watch the next couple steps. He's going to take that front left shoulder and fold it over as if he's setting up to face something towards this right-hand side. This body language implies that DJ Moore was running an over route, or the long Y crosser route, and it's going to get the linebacker right here to fade out towards that to take that throw away. But as Fields knows, Moore's actually running more of a stop route, so he needs to keep this throwing lane clear, and that shoulder and body fake does exactly that. As the linebacker is going to fade out the wrong direction, Fields is going to reset his feet, and suddenly there's absolutely no way this linebacker can get into the middle of the play. It's kind of like eye faking a safety, but on a more intense level, as Fields needs to clear that linebacker or there's no play to be made, especially when you've got the bodies in protection that the Bears did on this play. Your number one wide receiver goes down and picks a ball up off the turf that of course we'd love to raise, but that work to get the throw open is much more important than a perfect ball, because if you do what Fields did last year, here I've got a play for you as an example where Fields more stared Mooney down than doing any of the work to move defenders. If there's a linebacker in the way, you're out of luck. In this case, Fields is going to stare him down, throw with similar anticipation and a nice fastball of course, but when we take a look under center, you won't see near that head and body fake work that we just talked about. Instead, most of that's going to be handled by the play action fake itself, and the completion's nice, but this is a nice graduation of that concept that should be able to show us Fields moving more defenders. Which brings us to play number 9, and the Bears are feeling themselves a little bit. Their quarterbacks made a nice run and a nice throw downfield, picked up some big yards in chunks, so they're going to slam it up the middle, and D'Onta Foreman picks up 9 yards, puts us in a great down and distance at 2nd and 1. I specifically want to point out Tanyan and Cole Kmet here, who both hold their own. Tanyan in particular, who's not known as a blocker, nails this defensive back and creates a massive lane for Foreman to run through, and he finishes at the top of his route, very similar to we saw Roschon Johnson. And on play number 10, the Bears are going to continue with more of the same, running the ball here. They end up picking up the first down, but the blocking doesn't go quite as well as it did on the last play, as Braxton Jones in particular has himself a rough rep. It's the preseason, this is what it's for, but Braxton starts contact and just gets thrown away. I mean, it's number 70 right here, unfortunately, but it's what the tape says, right? And he gets tossed away. Good job by Foreman to eat enough contact and lurch forward and pick up the all-important first down anyways, but hopefully that doesn't happen again for the left tackle. And on play number 11, a lot's going to happen pretty early in this play, so we're going to have to go frame by frame so that I can show you that number 3's rolling down really early. That seems to suggest that we've got a blitz on, and so with the Bills in pretty clear man coverage, Justin Fields is going to signal something to the wide receivers, and the number one guy who's going to respond is going to be Mooney, who taps his helmet, checks with the rest of the receivers, and I mean, it's ironic Mooney's the one with the most motion because Mooney is the one that Fields is looking for on this slot fade. It sure seems as if DJ Moore is running this route like it's the preseason. Maybe that's what he's going to do in games. Honestly, we'll see, but watch number 2 first, as he's just going to take a couple steps off the line of scrimmage and step in, despite really heavy off coverage. I mean, for crying out loud, that's probably way more separation than I imagine the corner was planning on giving up. And number 11, Darnell Mooney, runs a perfectly decent route, but Fields' throw is left a little too far inside, and chances are you either want that ball a little bit further out here or back shoulder the other direction so that your guy is the only guy who has a chance for it. But it's the preseason, and Justin Fields is facing a blitz. He did a good job identifying it. That shot is a shot you'd want your guy to take, especially if that's, say, Chase Claypool, somebody bigger that might be able to go up and get it for you, but it's the preseason. If we're going to knock any rust out, now is the time. The process is solid, the result is not. If that's not the theme of this video, I just about don't know what is. But that sets up a 2nd and 10 on play number 12, and it's funny how this play works out, if only because the first thing we see is Tyler Scott pretty obviously adjusting to some kind of audible that just got called along with D'Onta Foreman. But as this play actually unfolds, we see Justin Fields clearly take the snap, look out for a screen, and, well, no receiver's actually looking for the football. And obviously with a quick wide receiver screen, somebody's got to be there to catch it. So Fields tucks the ball and takes a hit that you just hate to see your quarterback taking in the preseason. As far as what I actually think happened, it's one of two things. Either DJ Moore was supposed to fall off and catch a smoke screen, but if that's the case, I would have expected Tyler Scott to block him and Darnell Mooney to try to kick that corner out so that then Moore's got a tunnel of sorts, or at least some kind of space to navigate as he tries to make room on the outside. Instead, both of these outside receivers block the man in front of him, which has me thinking that this is supposed to be a spear screen for Tyler Scott, and the rookie made a rookie mistake. What would be more normal than the rookie making a rookie mistake in the preseason? But all the same, Fields ends up the one who's hung out to dry, quickly realizes, okay, so this play is dead then, tries to beat the guy on the end of the line, but he's just a little too well set up, and Fields takes a bonus hit in the preseason. Congratulations, Justin. And we move on to play 13. And on Fields' final snap, I really don't want to over-dramatize anything, but Fields seems like he made real improvement over the screen he threw just 2 weeks ago, where instead of Fields bailing out of the pocket and playing mobile, potentially risking an illegal man downfield penalty, Fields takes this snap and immediately looks to his left at the combination that's very similar to what we saw earlier with Tyler Scott breaking down the field and a quick drag route out to the sidelines. And as that happens, I mean, it's not a blitz. Tyree Carter, unfortunately, just oversets and loses control of his man, but Fields stays calm in the pocket and with a man in his face delivers a very easy catchable ball and takes a huge bump in the preseason. But this sets up his offensive linemen perfectly, who are able to get D'Onta Foreman the space that the offense needs to pick up a first down. It's just a screen pass. But instead of Fields rolling out and potentially extending the play, again, maybe too much and drawing a penalty that could have very well been called in week 1, Fields plays this perfectly on time. The ball lands easily in Foreman's hands, and Foreman, for that reason, is able to pick up a first down on a screen game that I imagine the Bears really have developed and honed in lieu of week 1 to support Fields in the short passing game. Overall, it obviously wasn't a banner day from Fields, but I think there are a lot of people waiting to dunk on him that as I watch through this tape, I see a quarterback that's getting better. Fields' quarterbacking process in 2022 at times needed a lot of work, and I know we're overanalyzing 7 snaps, it's the preseason, it's how it goes, but I feel like we're seeing real signs of tangible improvement from a process perspective as Fields really starts to learn his craft and quarterback in the second year of this Bears offense. Overall, I'm excited about 2023 for Fields. I've got a much bigger breakdown that I don't want to spoil in his capacity, but footwork looked better, he's going through reads, he didn't get sacked in this game, and he still had to deal with the occasional hiccup on the offense that'll happen in the preseason. It's nice to see the starters knock some rust off so that they can get as prepped as possible for the Green Bay game. It was even nicer to see that nobody got hurt, knock on wood, but we're gonna have to see what happens from here. So until next time, hit subscribe if you haven't already. You have no idea how much the like and subscribe numbers really do help channels, especially tinier channels like mine, get off the ground. And keep an eye on the channel for the rest of the week. I may try to pump out something defense oriented since we've done 2 offensive ones in a row, and I am going to start posting the podcast on post games and on Thursdays to keep things fresh around here. But until next time, bear down, and thanks so much for hanging out with me. You have a great rest of your day.